In July 2019, hundreds of people gathered downtown to protest conditions inside federal immigration detention centers.
This is the Phoenix Police Department. You need to get out of the road and the light rail track or you are subject to arrest.
16 people were arrested that night, including Jorge Soria and Phil Martinez. The two men filed this civil rights lawsuit claiming the police unfairly targeted them because they were known police critics. In this clip, you can see Martinez gesturing at officers. Soria was holding this flag, along with a sign that called police child killers. Last year, investigators with the Department of Justice agreed with their claims in a scathing report, writing, Phoenix PD's decision to target these two protesters while allowing others to walk away suggests that it was the protesters' expressive activities that prompted Phoenix PD to select them for arrest.
There were a lot of people arrested that night. Nobody was arrested for their speech, their views. They were arrested for their actions.
John Masterson represented the city and the officer in charge of the scene, Lieutenant Benjamin Moore. After watching hours of video, a federal jury ultimately sided with Lieutenant Moore, finding he did not violate the protesters' First Amendment rights, as the DOJ had claimed.
I think the police department in this case, and Lieutenant Moore in particular, acted quite professionally. Patiently letting people express their views, patiently letting people protest as they should. I think in this case, the jury did a very good job of looking at the evidence that was presented to them, rather than relying on, some agency from Washington, D.C. to tell them what to do.
Now, there are still a number of other civil rights lawsuits pending against the Phoenix Police Department stemming from other protests. Masterson thinks this case shows that Phoenix police can beat those lawsuits. Still, the city told me in a statement they remain committed to improving their policies and procedures related to protecting the First Amendment, and they highlighted some changes they have already put into place. The subtext of all this is that the city does not want additional federal oversight, like a consent decree from the Department of Justice, although there are some political dynamics ahead with the change in the Trump administration taking office.
Yeah, the city's been pushing back to resist a consent decree. Doesn't look like it's likely with the Trump administration. But this case may perhaps give a little bit more context because Phoenix PD has said for a long time that the DOJ intentionally took case studies out of context, quotes out of context. And you went back and compared this case to what the DOJ cited. Did they give the context that these were two protesters out of 16 arrested?
Right, yeah. Phoenix PD has said the DOJ got it wrong, and they cited a whole bunch of places. And in this case, the DOJ does appear to have gotten it wrong. The DOJ only talks about two protesters who were arrested. They don't talk about any of the 14 other folks who were arrested. So that number certainly stood out to the attorneys who were defending the city. Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Thanks, Derek.